Best.Podcast.Ever is sponsored by the Gertzberg Law Firm, a full-service business law firm in Cleveland and Chagrin Falls that's changing the way businesses retain their attorneys. Go to gertzberglaw.com to learn more. While you're there, check out Cover My Six, a complete legal audit of the 6 areas that most often create or prevent business lawsuits and government investigations. Go to covermysix.com to learn how we keep you safe. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the best podcast ever recorded.
And please, God, make me a good girl.
Hi, Molly Gebler.
Hi, Alex Gertzberg. Happy 4th of... No, we're not allowed to talk about that.
That's all right. We'll say.
I'm not allowed to cough, and I'm not allowed to talk about any dates.
No, now I want to include it. We're not starting over. Our audience gets warts and all, flaws and all. Speaking of flaws, what's happening with your arm over there? Yeah, jeez, oh man.
You know what? I think that for all those who are listening, it's red and itchy. When I have, if I'm at the grocery store and I put a bag on my arm, it breaks out. Like it does this. So I don't know if it's pressure.
Bag on your arm. That looks like an allergic reaction.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't have a plastic bag on my arm. I had although it was probably, it's probably plastic. It's probably pleather.
Looks uncomfortable.
It's itchy. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Alex.
How are you?
I'm tired a little
Why?
bit. Because Johnny Gebler went to Vegas.
Uh-oh.
And
who'd he go with?
My brother-in-law, our guest's husband.
Okay.
And I tried to get a lot in while he was gone. I redid my bathroom upstairs.
Shouldn't you be doing that when he's in town?
No.
Is that because you?
Well, the one upstairs I had someone do the flooring, and we got a new vanity, and then I painted it. Last night, or yesterday, I painted it, and then we put all the shelves up. I think it was done at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then Emily was in charge of taking out the vanity in the downstairs bathroom and putting in a pedestal sink, which I had purchased. And in true just Gebler fashion, Emily tried to take the nut off, and then the pipe burst. The water was off, thank God. And then I called my son-in-law, which still is very weird to say that. Just because I don't think I'm old enough to have a son-in-law, right?
You're not.
Okay. So he came out, and then he twisted something and cracked something else, and it's just... So needless to say, John came home to an absolutely empty bathroom because I couldn't get the pedestal sink in time for him.
So it's funny because you and John are clearly competent to do home remodeling projects, and I'm not. And so, my lady friend Tiffany that I hang out with these days, she remodels houses for, in her spare time. So she came over the other day in tears, very frustrated because she's remodeling her aunt's house. And apparently this diamond cut blade that you use to cut tiles broke. And so it was spinning, but it was tearing up the tiles, right? And she was really frustrated. So we went to Home Depot, and it was such a gender reversal kind of a day because we went there and she's in there and I'm standing behind her just playing on my phone,
Because you have no business.
I don't know anything about anything. I know what to get at Home Depot when you need ant repellent,
a battery or a light
bulbs. Yeah. She's in there and she's like, yeah, this flibberty gibber thing didn't work and that thing over there, and I can't even make fun of it because I don't know what she said. It just sounded like Swahili to me. And I felt very stupid. I'm okay with it. I own it. Yeah. I can't
manly enough.
I can't make things happen with my hands.
LeBron James.
Don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I care. I care
Yeah?
because
Because it affects Cleveland.
Yeah. I'll miss watching him. He's incredible, and I will miss that. But wouldn't.
Do you think he sold out?
No. He did what was best for his family.
Right.
Money is not an issue.
Right.
He actually dropped funds. He could have signed with us for more, I believe.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Why did he move?
He owns a couple production companies. He wants to go into movies, and LA's the place. I mean, you know, and I just, you know, would you want someone telling you where you could go next, or having a billion people give their opinion on where you should go?
No, I think that if I was at his level, I wouldn't really give a shit about any of it.
It's a business.
Yeah, he should do what he wants to do.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I will miss him. I will miss watching him, and I just wonder now what that brings.
Well, it was
to
nice.
Our team.
It was nice going to the championships for the last few years.
I hear that they're going to wrap the team around Kevin Love now.
Interesting.
Which, of course, makes me happy.
You'll be
makes me very happy. Anytime I can wrap anything around Kevin
you
Love.
want Kevin Love to wrap himself around you.
Amen, brother. Amen.
K-Love, come on the podcast. Come on now.
Yes.
Come on, K-Love.
But I mean, if I were, you know, let's talk about you as an attorney. If you came in every day, did your job to the best you could, won every case, blah, 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 every day consistently.
Which is like every day. Here.
Exactly. That's why I'm explaining it.
That's how we operate. Go ahead.
And then Meg came in maybe every Wednesday she would be good. And then you came in and maybe every Thursday he would be good. But you're consistent. I mean, that's how LeBron played. He was consistent every game. Every game he brought it. And occasionally Kevin Love would bring it. You know, some days they were at their best, some days they weren't. I mean, on a toll, he can't take that anymore. He can be that.
Is he going to get that in LA?
Actually, that's funny you say that because he's not for a year or two. So he is building it up again. I don't know. I'm just happy that maybe when he builds it, that the Warriors would actually have a competition. That will make me happy because they'll play each other. That's why we've never really been head to head with the Lakers in any kind of thing because they never got past.
Has Dan Gilbert issued any shit talking statements?
And I don't think LeBron technically has either. I mean, he put out the thing about on Instagram.
His decision. Yeah. I have to tell you something.
Please.
I have become very aware of how watching the news affects my mood. Right? And it is constant bad news. It's constant.
But how do you stay informed, though?
Well,
because sometimes I feel a little ignorant.
Here's I want to talk to your sister about this, too, because and I want to talk to you about it, right? Routines. Routines. Well, but here. So I stay informed now, but in very tiny slivers of information from specific sources like NPR. Like I'll listen to the 5-minute NPR newscast once, and that's it. Right? If they can't squeeze what I need to know in those 5 minutes.
Is that politically one side or another?
Well, NPR would probably be considered by most conservatives to be left-leaning. Sure. I don't think it is. Right?
Most media is. Except one station.
Sure. But my point is that I actually do feel better not seeing blood on TV every day, you know, and it sucks. And yeah, there is that question. Well, don't you also feel uninformed? And should we have uninformed people making right? Well, I do feel a little bad about it, but I have a life to live, and my life is often affected by constant blood and guts and kids dying on TV.
And if it's something that really needs to be known, this Cleveland terror guy,
sure.
We need to know that. We're going to know it. I didn't listen to on the news. Somebody told me about it, and then I looked it up.
But here, and so I read someone, I think he was a statistician, and he wrote an article about how if you see it on the news and it's violent, then you are statistically safe relative to all other kinds of things that could happen to you, bad things that might happen to you. If it's on TV, it's sensationalist. It's by definition only interesting because it doesn't happen all the time. Right. So even though school shootings are horrible and it seems like they happen all the time, schools are still the safest places to be in America because it doesn't happen. It seems like it happens all the time.
As many schools as they are.
Yeah,
in the many.
But that's exactly the problem is You see it on TV every few weeks and it's horrible. It's horrible that it's happening. But I will tell you, I feel better not watching the news now. And I was a total news junkie, Molly. I loved it. Was an integral part of every day. It was one of my routines. A good hour in the morning and then nightly news at night.
Was it to be informed? Like, did you enjoy doing it to be informed, or did?
No, it was because the people I watched on TV I considered very intelligent, and I considered the discussions they were having to be stimulating. But now I'm just so angry at what I see on TV, and I'm like, you know what? And we'll talk to your sister about the 86,400. Do you know where that comes from?
Yes.
Where?
Those are the number of hours in the day. No, in the year.
Number of seconds in a day.
Yes.
Right?
That's what it is.
There are a finite number of seconds in a day, and I'm very reluctant these days to spend any of them on things unnecessarily negative. Right. And lately, Molly, everything's negative on the news. It is.
Right? I mean,
I guess not lately. It's been like that.
Radio and anything.
Yeah.
And anything. And
it's depressing.
It is. So speaking of
Susan,
guest,
how long have you known
Richlak,
Susan, Molly?
I have known Susan Richlak for 47 years.
Wow. Who's older?
She is way older. 2 years.
2 years older.
And we're all 2 years apart. I have 4 siblings, and we're all 2 years apart because we were a Catholic family, and my mother had C-sections, and you couldn't have another baby.
That's how long it takes to heal your stuff
correct.
Up? Oh,
so she
interesting.
literally went to the church and got permission. Oh, so she says, my mother, and God rest her soul, we can't confirm, that she then went on birth control. She got permission to go on birth control because that is against the Catholic religion. And that's why we are all exactly 2 years apart. That's what she said.
Huh. You got to get permission to go on birth control. Did they say what kind of birth control she was permitted to use?
I think it was the pill.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Just a little side note.
So
yes.
Your sister practices law,
She
a proud
does.
profession.
Yes. Yeah. I used to work for her.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's a mentor.
Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And she does estate planning.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice lady. I like your
She's the
sister.
best.
She's good people.
She's good people.
Yeah.
We were raised by an amazing mother.
I've got lots of questions. Let's bring her in.
Let's bring her in.
Hi, Sue Richlak.
Hi.
Do you go by Sue or Susan most of the time?
I go by Susan most of the time.
Hi, Susan Richlak.
Or Ebby.
Ebby?
Ebby is what we call her.
Did somebody with a stuffed nose try to say Emmy, and that's what happened?
We started calling her Suey.
Okay.
And then Sam couldn't say Suey. She said
let's clarify.
Ebby.
My sister would say Suey,
yes.
which is not really endearing. But,
but it was said out of love.
That's
said
really
out of
funny.
love. Susan came with gifts.
I can't wait to see him.
I have a gift for Susan. This is the brand new Chagrin Valley chamber bag.
Let's get some pictures going here for the cast.
So this is the place to go when you want to know. So if you want to come visit me at the chamber office. And then these are the famous napkins, which I'm sure Alex will totally enjoy.
Gonna need a picture.
Oh yeah.
Pretty
So
sure.
these are.
You can't say happiness without saying penis. Oh, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
That's just outstanding.
So I think my sister has a little bit of a napkin
Speaking of,
obsession.
I can't wait to see
this
what's...
is a gift, and then I have some props that God bless you, we need to start right away.
All right,
Uh-oh.
so
But I'll let you do that
very
first.
exciting. There's
Yeah.
a lot of blue
so
tissue
Alex is
paper.
opening up a gift.
Really? Is it tissue? Is it blue tissue paper? Is that the
No.
gift?
No, it's not.
All right.
Uh-oh.
It appears to be something wrapped in additional tissue
Is
paper.
it napkins?
Can we
feels
just?
like
It feels like
napkins?
it feels. To be clear, there are 1, 2.
Okay.
Which I
Three
got from my
large-
basement
Yeah,
in my
large
organized
We will
wrapping
get
Tissue
into
station.
we will get into her basement for sure today.
There.
For
This is
sure.
definitely a roll of napkins.
I
that
told
must
you, she
say
has an
something
obsession
very
with
cute.
napkins. Does it say something about
It
penis?
says "Best Podcast Ever" with Alex and Molly. Oh,
Oh, little napkin.
how lovely! Let's get a shot here. Do you print these yourself?
They are a DIY shout out to Sun Rental and Mentor.
You know what? You're gonna have to do it because when you try to do a selfie with it, it reads backwards.
Oh, good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
So you can pick from a variety of things.
Oh, lots of pictures.
You
for
can
this
get these
one.
ordered where?
Well, you have to make an arrangement to go in, and you kind of tell them what printing you want. It's a little stamp with like typeset things, and then they get it set up for you, and then you go in and you have to stamp
Interesting.
them.
Those are really
each.
cool.
Thank
you.
you, Sue.
Yeah,
Why is
thanks.
Alex's name first? Because it's alphabetical.
That's
It's not
what
important.
It
It's not
said
important.
on
It is
the
true.
Yeah.
Well, of
podcast.
course,
So
because
she did
Alex
Can I?
made it.
Can we, before we go on to the other gifts and props, what do you think is responsible for your obsession with cocktail napkins?
I know.
My mother.
Yes.
Interesting.
I mean, like,
She really.
she is like a
was into-
whole cupboard of napkins for every occasion, for every. So, I mean, she didn't have penis ones, but
No,
now
She does now.
My first.
And she's starting to collect on stirrers,
Oh,
like
yeah,
baby G. We have.
I was
she's
going to bring those
she's
to
got
go along
baby
with my
Jesus
prop,
or-
but like drink markers. So if you're having a
Sure,
party
yeah, those are
and-
important.
Yes.
You don't wanna
yes.
pick up
But-
somebody
but
else's
then I can't
germs.
just have regular ones. I have like boys wearing little Speedos with names. Actually, I think I have an Alex one. Darn it. That would have been
Oh,
really
that would have been
good for my
good.
prop, but,
Yeah.
oh well.
So, okay, well, we've learned that you like cocktail napkins.
She's a party. She's a Martha
Yeah?
Stewart party girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Every corner, every nook and cranny of a party is to the T. I'll have to bring you to a party.
Yeah.
Are you doing a summer Sue party?
I'd like to. I'm working on the date.
Okay, so
Working on the
we'll get
date.
Alex on
Yes,
that
but
invite.
What is it called? A summer what now?
Well, it's her
Super? Is it a
Sue
soup?
party. Summer
Oh,
Sue
summer
party.
Sue.
Just a party.
Not
Yeah, she has a
soup,
summer
Sue.
party,
Okay.
and
Right.
you know, along with the photo booth and every appy you could imagine, every drink you could imagine, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's
For
really
sure.
interesting because Molly, you like, I mean, as part of your duties at the chamber, you like putting on big big deal.
Yeah, I
parties.
think that's all mom.
What?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, mom was a party.
The
Hostess.
the
Yes,
priests,
hostess
the
with the
priests
mostess,
dig
yes.
the party in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So what else you got?
What else you
going on?
got?
Well,
Let's see it.
I really
Yeah.
felt to go along with the napkins that we needed to make the Sue drinks.
Oh,
That's why I didn't respond to any drink requests.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Oh, my.
You brought a large
She's come
freezer
with-
bag with
she's
a
come with
let's see
had to
a cosmopolitan
with
mix,
the martini shaker.
a plastic
Oh,
flask.
Wait, I need to get it.
Wow. You may be our favorite guest,
Yes.
our new
we're
favorite.
going to have to, I can.
Oh my goodness, this is so exciting.
This is very.
So it's going to be a little loud. I don't know.
That's all
Oh,
right.
If
that'll
we
be
cough or
perfect.
whatnot.
We just
Wow.
can't cough.
I like these just assorted. It looks like moonshine.
Well,
There's-
that's the triple sec. And it's
Oh my
been kind
God.
of in here since our last appointed time.
What is this? What is that?
Oh,
Hold on.
she's gonna do the whole. I feel
This
like
is
I need
so
to.
exciting.
I need to go live. Can we go live
Yeah.
on Facebook
Do it.
right
I mean,
now?
Nellie will yell at you.
Nellie
but,
will
you know.
freak, but
Wait,
I
why?
think it's going to be worth it because
Did you buy martini
these
glasses?
are the travel ones that we brought camping.
Travel martini
We
glasses.
brought this camping.
Has anyone suggested that you guys might have a problem? Is that?
Let's not go there on a podcast.
Fortunately, we have extension cords under the conference table for
that is
just
what Nellie told me.
for
so I didn't
just
have to
this
worry
purpose.
is she coming in? Does she know that there's
Oh.
martinis to be had?
about it.
This is
She's
the
going
craziest
to
thing
dinner,
I've ever. Do we need ice? Should I bring ice?
Oh,
That's what that. I'm wondering why you're sitting there with a cup of ice.
Nellie sent me.
This is a first, Molly. Is
I
this the
know.
53rd?
Yeah.
It took 53 podcast episodes
For someone to bring a martini. That
an
that
entire.
is my favorite gift that I gave
Molly
my
got
sister.
this for me.
Yeah.
It is
I don't-
by far. The
I don't know what I'm
favorite.
doing here. I'm gonna
I'll
let you
do
do
that.
Yeah.
She's a professional.
This is serious business over here.
Well, you can talk while I.
All right. What is this device right here?
That's an electric martini shaker.
Oh, is that right?
No, when you
'cause-
see the frost that is going to get on here
God.
from the martini shaker,
All right,
you'll
so-
want one.
All right, let's walk the audience through what's happening right now. So, you just dumped some sort of strange.
This is
silver-
sugar.
Why does it look that way?
Because I looked on your website, and your website is all blue and silver, so I made it
You're saying
be-
you're
These are color
color-coded. Yeah.
color coordinated
That's why I
martinis.
picked the napkin color and the print to go along.
I didn't
with.
realize, Alex Gersberg, that we had a
Well,
color
I
Oh, we
did-
got a color.
I asked
That is
Nellie, and
so
she said, "I think
sweet.
that was just a stock photo." but
template. That's how we roll.
Are we inventing a best podcast ever martini right now? Is this a special
Well,
kind of drink?
This is just.
This is a Soutini.
A Soutini?
There's a Sue
Yes.
drink.
I
There's a
thi-
summer Sue drink, and then there's the Soutini.
Well, what can we do to this to make it a unique martini experience, unlike any that a Soutini
I
has
think
ever
just
had
what
before?
we're doing
doing
is
it live in a
unique.
podcast.
On the podcast?
I
This
think
is
that's
very-
pretty
I mean,
good.
Wow. All right, so you just cut up some
for the
lines.
listeners, well, we'll be posting this video on live so they can. It is live.
It is
but
live?
Then we have watchers.
All right. Wow, look at that.
Testing the
So you just put the
glasses.
sugar on the rim of the glass.
lime it, like
Oh,
the professionals.
Lime
it first.
Would you say that might be considered a rim job?
I'm going to say you would say that was a good job.
Sue has given a rim
So
job to
just
these
to
glasses.
Share. This is how all the parties would be. Like,
Sorry for
You know,
the splash.
Sue, I secretly hope that no judge that I ever appear in front of ever listens to these podcasts for reasons just like that.
Well, Molly,
For the
also
rim
the
job
other
comment.
reason that was Alex. Not
Yeah.
Me. The other reason is that Molly, as you know, likes her suits, and she feels that this is what goes on all the time in the real world, which
Yeah.
Right.
does not in my world.
Right.
it is in Alex's world.
After 5:30.
No, it's 5:45
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now. It's beer. It's martini 30 right now.
Yeah. Oh, your husband's watching.
Oh, hi, honey.
You know, just making martinis in the conference room.
Yeah, he's probably not aware that this was going to be happening on the podcast. But
Yeah. So
What's his name?
Dale.
Dale, let's have dinner waiting for us at home.
Yeah. So
Somebody's
Dale,
going to come back
Dale
hungry.
and John got home last night at like
Yeah.
4:30
Oh, is that
in the
right?
morning. So
Dale, did you win some money? Just message Molly if you did. You can.
right.
Are there any good questions we should ask your wife?
oh, there's good things.
I don't.
I
we
pretty
wanna
much
go
know
there.
them all. So
All right.
All right.
Here we
So
go.
Go. We
the martini
lock it
shaker is. Oh my god. That is
Sorry.
that is a.
But
that's
check out the chill factor.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you can't shake that. Well, I won't even say what I was going to say. But
I mean, you've had that for a long.
Yeah.
We're shaking the whole table.
Wow, that's amazing.
I need a cigarette after that.
I've never known that they made martini
Look at
shaker
that.
machines like that. Oh, that's cold. Nice
Alex
job.
is going to get one right now.
Oh my goodness, this is exciting.
We should get the podcast napkins out. Really
Yeah, oh
quick.
yeah. What kind of vodka you got in there?
We always do a raspberry vodka. And
Okay.
then a little triple sec, some Cosmo mix.
Ooh, look at enough for 3.
Yeah, this is. She's a
Sam's on her
professional.
way for a zucchini.
Okay.
Zucchinis. All right, let's test this baby out. Here you go, Molly. That one's yours.
Thank you, Alex Gertzberg.
How excited! I really like the
the
color coded
rim job.
rim job there. Yeah.
I'm not
All right,
saying that.
well, just
Cheers.
Sue.
Cheers,
Our
thanks,
guest, our
Sue.
favorite guest.
Yeah, really.
There you go. Next time, my house.
Wow, that's really good. It tastes like watermelon a little bit. No,
The raspberry and
that's all
the
raspberry.
mix. Well, the raspberry vodka and the sugar, I think. Mix it.
Well, we're going off live because we don't want everyone to know what really happens on our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the what was the ratio of vodka to mix that you used there?
I do a 3 count of my vodka, which is a home 3 count, not a
Okay.
bar 3 count.
Okay.
This is why I can't drink.
Meaning it's
out.
really like a 5 count.
No, mine
Oh, it's
is
less? Oh, it
yeah,
is?
when I
Okay.
go out someplace, I can maybe have 1 of a bar
Mm-hmm.
pour. So 3
Mm.
counts of the raspberry vodka, splash of the triple sec, and then a 3 count of the either Cosmo mix or cranberry.
It's really
juice.
tasty. I like it. Sue, I couldn't help. So let's get some vital statistics out of the way first, right? You are an attorney in the great state of Ohio,
Yes.
practicing in Lake County. What is
Yes.
that? Mentor? Are
My
you
office
Mentor?
is in Mentor. Mhm.
Yeah. Where you have a solo practice.
Yes.
Ever thought about going big, like the Gertzberg Law Firm?
No.
No.
I
You like keeping
I
it small?
like my little world.
All right. That's fair. You practice.
Are you offering her a job or just seeing if she
I
was going to
would.
grow into
I
multiple?
would offer you a job, actually, except that Meg would get mad at me because
Yes.
she does estate planning.
Meg does the
Right,
same.
yes.
You know,
I don't.
but there's probably enough work to go around. You just here, talk to Meg. You guys work something out.
Okay, gotcha. If I ever decide,
Although
to
you've worked in,
yeah,
you worked for Elk and Elk.
I've been in other firms
Get
before.
closer to the mic. Yeah.
Been in other firms before, but
Yeah, big firms.
I started out at Nuremberg Paris when
Okay.
it was Nuremberg Pleven at the time when I was going to law school.
You didn't like the PI work.
I did. I just after I left there was at Elk and Elk for a time, and they needed somebody to do the probate work related to the personal
Right.
injury work, so I started doing that for
Yeah.
them. And then when I went on my own, it just kind of morphed into
Yeah.
the probate world and estate planning. So
And so you've been practicing law for
it's going to be 25 years
Wow.
next year.
25 years. That's
Woo!
a lot of experience.
And still does work for the people which I think shows. Are you allowed to
Yes.
say that?
Yes. I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's
which shows a
enough
lot.
public
For
record.
Nuremberg, you mean?
And Elk and Elk. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that shows a lot to a
Probably
character of a person.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Probably about half, at least, of my probate cases come from personal injury attorneys around the state of Ohio who
Okay.
either don't want to do some of the probate parts, or the probate parts are more complicated than is necessary for what they need to do with their case. So
Right. So we're talking about estate planning, which we define as wills, trusts, administration, right?
yes,
And we're talking about probate litigation, right?
some. I usually, if I'm going to get involved in the litigation, I will co-counsel those.
Guardianships,
I do.
conservatorships. I don't know a lot about those.
haven't. Not that I wouldn't. That's
Okay.
just not one that comes across very often for me.
What else? What else do you do that I have not just said?
Well, what's the one where you have a personal injury and the kids get money?
Oh, minor settlements. A lot of minor
Oh,
settlements.
yeah,
and
representing minors. Yeah,
either
yeah.
guardians that go along with that. But mostly you've hit them. I mean, probably
Okay.
about 50-50 in the estate planning side versus a lot of the probate. And now that I've been in practice this long, unfortunately, some of my earlier clients are dying now. So now I'm in that phase of helping their children do whatever needs to be done.
What do you think is the most obvious to you, low-hanging fruit that somebody, maybe they have elderly parents, maybe they don't, whatever. What's like the most obvious thing that someone ought to do in thinking about estate planning?
Make a will?
I think they need to figure out if they have any documents in place, actually know what they say. Very often we have people come in that maybe had documents done many years ago. They might have a big, gigantic binder that cost them several $1,000s that they really never knew the contents of. So they need to, I always say your assets sort of accumulate over time, but people just do their estate documents once and then they forget or don't understand that how you title the assets greatly impacts how the documents will be able to be administered. I've had to tell some folks along the way. I had a situation where, especially in a second marriage situation where you don't have children that are children of the marriage, the gentleman had a will that basically divided his assets, some to his second new wife and some to his children, but then all of his assets were joint in survivorship with the wife. So she got 100% of everything that he had on his passing, and even though the will provided for the children, there were no assets to be administered according to the will.
How often should someone update their will?
They should update it whenever there is a change in their circumstance, whether that's wealth up or down, change in marital status, deaths. If they become aware or hear things about changes in the law that seem to be indicating that there's something new that should be done.
I'm going to add to that answer because that was my answer until something happened recently in our family. Nellie and I have an uncle who passed away a few years ago, and he was married to this woman who eventually got dementia. And in her dementia, and as you guys probably both know, once you have dementia, you're not changing anything.
Right.
Your documents are what they were, right? And so after she got dementia, she started railing against her 3 kids. Just all she would do is talk to our uncle about how much she hated them and how they were...
which is just part of the disease.
Could have been. We don't know. We don't know. She was constantly talking about how they were after her money, right? And she had a will that left them everything. So I would say that not only should you check on your estate planning documents when you have major life events, but you ought to be aware of what's in them, which I think is what you said, all the time. Like read that thing or talk to a lawyer like once a year so that you know that your then current intentions are manifested in those documents.
Right.
Because once you start losing it, you're...
In her defense a little bit, though, paranoia and those kind of things do come with that disease.
Right. But we just don't know.
Right.
We don't know how genuine...
The other two, when we're doing estate planning for families, I always try to remind them, when it's usually a couple or maybe an individual coming in, I always tell them anybody who is legally an adult but who may be in a compromised position of some sort over whom that person takes responsibility or helps care for that person. That could be an 18-year-old adult child who's now in college, who's now legally an adult, but
Right.
the parents are still paying for their college and things of that sort. Those folks really need, those young adults really also need to do some documents, and parents need to maybe be the voice of reason there at some
Right.
point to say, I think Sarah, my daughter Sarah, about, the day after her 18th birthday, we were signing the power of attorney, which included the power for me to see all of her grades in college and things. That they have nice little clause.
Is that
for
true? Is that
yeah, I
really?
put a clause in there for that. Yes, I did. I'm paying the tuition bill. I'm going to see the grades if I want. But I always remind folks too, if you're caring for elderly parents, or not even if that they're living in your home, but if you're the one who is doing everything and kind of shepherding them, you need to have that conversation with them. And there's lots of articles and things
Right.
out there to help facilitate that, because generationally those are hard conversations to have with people who, especially elderly, they're very private. They don't want to give that information even to children. But you need to, we've had some people pull out powers of attorney where they don't realize there's different kinds of powers of attorney. There's a power that's effective the day you sign it, and then there's springing powers.
Right.
And sometimes those springing powers, depending on what is in them, they're not always very convenient to use at the bank. That you need to know, if you can't sit down and read your documents
Right.
and really know what they say and what they mean. We spend a lot of time going over the practical aspects with people of how this is going to play out if you pick that language or this language, or if you want these terms.
You're probably never going to sign a more impactful document in your life. And so not signing one at all makes no sense. And then once you make those, those are decisions that affect years of your life or your loved one's life.
Right.
And I know because Sue had my mom, who we didn't anticipate. None of us anticipate, but everything was just so in order. And then my mother-in-law passed away, and things weren't so much in order. And it's it could avoid going to court and opening up a state. And if you just do some simple things beforehand to avoid.
Especially in that second marriage situation, I think a lot of people don't realize that if you don't have a will, the state of Ohio decides how your things are going to be allocated, and that may or may not be at all what you would want for either your spouse or children of the prior marriage, depending on where they are.
You know what that's called, Molly? Intestate succession.
And that's what
I remember that from my state's of trust.
210506.
Oh boy!
All right, enough shop talk.
Yes.
Boring.
Let's talk about
along.
something way more grave.
Sue's basement.
No. Well, all right, in a minute.
Alex.
In a minute. I've got an agenda here. Way more important. I want to know, first and foremost, have you two ever fought over a boy?
No.
No?
No.
Have
I
you-
really didn't date ever until later in life. So Molly
I
just
never dated
had
either.
Have
all
you
the
ever
boys.
fought over a girl?
No.
Have you ever fought?
Oh, yes.
All right, let's talk about that. So let's start big. What's the biggest fight you guys ever got into?
You know what? And I want to preference this right off the bat, that when we say we have fought, it's been silly. We're not the kind of family who
I'll be the judge of that.
fights.
No,
right?
I just left a house today where the woman was basically telling me she hasn't spoken with her daughter in 20 years.
Right,
and
like
I
that.
just
No,
you
can't
guys have a
even
very close
fathom
family.
Yeah.
that.
But
Let's get to the
it's
fighting.
mostly younger age, I would say. Really.
So should we go right to the masking tape?
Oh, okay, sure.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You tell your version.
The correct version. Molly and I are similar in a lot of ways, but then polar opposites in many ways too.
How is so?
Well, in our youth, I was very organized, let's say, in how I wanted our room to be. And we shared a room that was probably about the size of this conference room.
Probably. Barely.
If that. And Molly, in my view, had a lack of disregard for many of my things.
Molly. How dare you.
And at one point, I we had Molly be, when you walked in the room, she was the first part of the room because I didn't want her to have to go into my section of the room.
Sure, that's smart. It's good
And
strategizing
then
there.
I had to put masking tape down the middle to make the dividing
Real
line.
masking
Real
tape.
masking tape.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in other words, Molly was not allowed in your section of the room, but you were able to traverse Molly's section
Yes.
to get to your part.
If
of
she
it.
could
Yes.
get over
Yeah,
all
if
this.
I could make my way.
Is Molly like a secret hoarder? Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
No.
she's the hoarder.
No. She just
we're having a fight
wasn't.
right now.
That's just messy.
I just liked clothes hanging up on hangers
Okay.
and put away.
No time
and
for that. I was out having
somebody-
fun.
Yeah, she was
partying.
dating the boys. I
Yeah.
had plenty of time to do these things.
Yes. Susan is very. She thinks she's an attorney mind. She thinks it through.
Yeah.
She thinks of all the scenarios. Then she goes over it again. And I've done about 4 things in that in the meantime.
I'd buy that. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
More methodical.
Right.
But
More-
she brings out her inner Molly sometimes.
Yeah, I try.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I try to
Fun Sue.
fun Sue every now and
Fun
then.
A
Sue comes
martini
out.
day
Right.
Monday nights at Best
Or
Podcast
just to
Ever.
get over, and I would imagine most attorneys are a little bit similar in this, that we just make things in our minds more than they are.
Definitely.
So if Molly asks me to do something in my mind, I'm weighing out all those things instead of just being like, yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah.
Go to the movies or something like
Right.
that. Something
Could be something-
spontaneous.
Right.
You know, but
Okay.
you've gotten better.
Yeah.
So that's the masking tape is the biggest fight that you guys can think
Well, and then I gave her the scar on her.
of. Really?
Yeah.
So tell that.
So I think it was fourth grade. Fourth grade I was in.
So I
Fourth
would have
grade.
been second grade.
I think so. So our MO at that time was we would take the bus home from school, and our older brother, who's older age-wise but not maturity level,
Okay.
let's be clear,
Yeah, very clear.
he would stay down at the bus stop and play football in the street and whatnot. So Molly and I walked back home, and at that time we had what was a revolutionary
Yes.
refrigerator that had the water spigot inside automatically with the cold
nice,
water.
yeah.
But it was in like the crack
You have to open
of the door.
door.
Yeah,
That was
so-
cutting edge at the time, right?
Right.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
And
Now it's standard.
yeah, on the outside though. But this
Right.
was like
this is
you
the
really had to
inside.
make an
This
effort.
is big time.
Right.
This is big time.
And in our house growing up, I mean, our mom was a widow with 4 kids, so things were sometimes chaotic, and we often didn't have like a clean glass, for example, if nobody had done the dish. I mean, it wasn't poverty or anything like that, but just if nobody did the dishes, there was no clean glasses, so which was the case that day. So I had to like put my head in the
no.
refrigerator and get my squirt of water, which I did. And then I had some residual dribbles, and Molly's, we didn't have any hand towels either. I mean,
or paper towels.
paper towels.
Was this during the Depression or?
Well, our mom had just gone back to work, so
Okay.
she wasn't home
Or
doing her,
ceramics.
yeah, whatever. So Molly's sweater was on the back of the chair, so I took the sweater and wiped my face with water, clean water from
Seems
the
innocent.
refrigerator. And she didn't like the person who would ordinarily leave that sweater laying on the
Well, it
floor
was.
on any given
was.
time. Didn't like that, so she started chasing me, and I somehow tripped and fell and cut my head on the seat of
geez.
the dining room chair. And then I proceeded to run down. We lived on a pretty main street growing up, so my intention was to run down to my older brother at the bus stop, who's
probably supposed to watch us.
Why I thought that would be any help, I don't know. And a semi-truck driver, I'm like bleeding down the face, and he's stopping like, little girl, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. He's like, do you need help? No. And then my brother did take me to a nurse adult that lived down the street, Mrs. Albertone.
Wow,
And
I
we
mean
had to
that
get many
infraction.
stitches, stitches on the inside and then stitches on the outside.
That infraction seems hardly scar-worthy, Molly. I mean, it's just a
right?
sweater. It's just
I
water.
know.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Touch my stuff, bitch.
I will cut a bitch, is what Molly just said. For if you touch my
But I mean,
sweater.
as far as arguing that,
Not really.
I mean, those would be like the kind of arguments that
Right.
we would have.
What did you ever do together that got you in the most trouble? Let's see if the light bulb goes off at the exact
Susan
same
was
moment.
perfect. She never
I
would
was
get
looking
in
to
trouble.
Except when
say-
she hung out with you.
No, she would never get in
Molly
trouble.
was busy hanging out with other people getting in trouble. I don't know that. I'd have to come back
What?
to you on that.
No way.
No.
I was
We will sit here
busy-
until you come up with something. We will
was
not go
busy
on to another
rewriting
question.
papers and
Stop
I
it.
don't think that we ever got in trouble.
All right, well, all right.
I
Let's
don't think
back
so.
into this question. Has anyone been suspended from school?
Yeah.
Detention.
Yeah. You got one. Or
I
yeah.
got one for wearing a different colored green
green.
sweater
Yeah.
Than what you're allowed to
than the
wear?
allowable
Forest
color
green,
green.
yeah.
So that didn't sit well with our mom.
What kind of Gestapo school
I think
did you
that
go
was
to?
in high
Catholic.
school.
Like
Oh, it's Catholic school.
Yeah.
Lake Catholic? Come on, Lake Catholic. It's
Yeah.
all green, isn't it?
No, forest
Jeez, oh,
green.
man.
Not that.
So you got a
I've
detention
had,
for
I've
that.
had a detention.
What'd you
I
get a
think mine
detention
was taken away.
I don't know. Late to school. Who knows?
I don't know. I can't answer for her. I don't know.
I feel like late to school is code for like making out with somebody.
No, we were good students.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Sue definitely had better grades than me, but I mean, we weren't troublemakers.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna have to move to a new line of
We were the
questioning.
party house.
What
For
was
sure.
the
Oh, we told Mom it's out.
what was the item of property that received the most destruction when the two of you were together? Any cars get wrecked? Any walls get torn down?
That would be our brother.
Yeah, no, not for us.
Well, you guys are really boring. You know that?
Play. I mean, we played outside a lot.
Yeah.
We had little animals. Our tree families.
Yeah.
You know how trees on the trunk would have like little, what we thought were the doors for our people.
Back before iPads and
Right,
technology,
right. So on
we
the
made up
bottom
stuff.
tree trunk, you see almost little doors, little arched doors.
Right.
So we would play for hours. That like people
Leaf
lived-
houses.
leaf houses. We would
Very
break
big.
the leaves and make our I mean,
Rooms. Oh yeah.
before Sims. We were the creator of Sims.
Yes, we should have marketed
Fudge.
that. Darn it.
Interesting.
Yeah, you know how Sims you build your own
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we did, but we would have the hallway,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then and this was all through raking.
Yeah, just
You would separate the leaves, and then
lines
we'd walk
of
into
leaves.
the kitchen, and then we would explain our houses, and
Sounds
we
so
were very. And then
cute,
we lived
quaint.
a barn was behind us, and a lot of property behind us, so we would be gone for hours just
Oh, yeah.
playing out.
or
out
just at
there.
the local pools. I mean, we would ride our
Oh, yeah.
bikes to
Colby
the pool
Park.
and just go to the pool for the whole day, or go
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
parks.
Has anyone?
Gosh, we lived boring or no in trouble. We didn't wreck anything.
Yeah,
No
I should have asked this in
detentions.
reverse order, but I think I know the answer. Has either of you had to bail the other one out of jail?
No.
Not us.
Yeah.
Just
no.
other people you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other
Can you
family members.
are you allowed to talk about it on, our podcast?
Oh no,
No?
not us,
Well,
not Susan and I.
I will share my story, and lawyers would appreciate this. There was a warrant for my arrest.
Yes,
Really?
yes.
Why? What did you do? It's about to get interesting.
When literally the weekend after my 18th birthday, thank goodness in a way, I went to visit my brother at Ohio State. And I walked out of, I believe it was Colonel Mustard's, with a wine cooler. And a
Bartles
police
and James
officer
or
was
Zima?
following. And then I did not, I tried to give information from an ID that I had that wasn't mine, so that wasn't a good idea. And I got a ticket at the end of the day for open container. And it was back when you had to turn the ticket over and call, and you would have to figure out what the fine was, call the 1-800 number or whatever. So when I got back home, of course, I'm doing this from our basement, trying to, not let my mom know what I'm doing. And I would call, and it was just always busy, and I couldn't get through. And my brother, does not have a great maturity level, I was telling him, and he's like, don't worry about it. They give these out like candy. It's fine. It's no big deal, whatever. So I just didn't do anything about it. So fast forward 4 years of college comes, I'm sitting first year of law school, and the professor is starting to talk to us right then about the admissions process and how you have to write down on the application every ticket you've ever gotten, everything. And I just started sweating bullets. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got this ticket. I don't even know what happened. And it was before you could really sort of go online and check dockets or anything like that. So my mom and I drive down to Columbus because I have to like pull the file or whatever. I could see that there was a file. So I go down there, and thank God this awesome bailiff kind of took me under his wing, and he's like, what are you doing? Why are you bringing this up? And I'm like, I'm going to law school and I have to have this resolved. And he's like, listen, there's a visiting judge on the bench right now. I don't want to deal with this today. I want you to come back here in 2 weeks. You check in with me, you blah, blah, blah. And he kind of worked it out. I learned a new term that my case was nollied.
Nice, good.
And that was it. But I did have to put it on my bar exam application.
So you had
or bar admission.
How long was there a warrant out for your?
Oh, for 4 years.
Wow.
Of me driving back and forth and going to school and.
Anywho, Sue, I've got questions about this period of your life that you spent blogging, because I read some of your blogs and they're pretty cool.
Okay.
And the website is onpurpose86400.com, which, of course, I try to do math to figure out what the significance of it is, but I'm not smart enough to do that. So I just Googled what is 86400, and sure enough, there's the answer. It's the number of seconds in a day, which I think is so meaningful and so significant. And I think you are one of the few people that do listen to this podcast. Yes?
I do.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Some of them. So you may have heard me talk about how aware lately I've been of how finite every second of the day is, and how once it's gone, it's gone. And so if you spend any of it being unnecessarily negative, you've just blown a moment on negativity, and you never get that moment back. You clearly were thinking something along those same lines when you started that website, yes?
Yes.
Yeah? What inspired that?
I think I've always sort of had that side of me that those things were important. I think just at that time, when you start having kids, and especially I think as a working mother, if you don't consciously think about those things, I mean, I could easily get sucked into my office 24 hours a day and not balance it out with some of the other stuff.
So was there an event, maybe it was the birth of your daughter, was there something that made this light bulb go off, that you had this message and this narrative that you wanted to share with the world?
I think that having my daughter definitely influenced that. But I think because of just who I am, and I think Molly and I are similar a little bit in that regard, these are the kinds of things and topics that would always come up with all my friends, or if they had a question about something. So I just thought, I would like to have that outlet and share it. But this is a great example of the difference between Molly and me, because that was conceived, that idea or thought to do that blog was the year that we went to New Jersey with the Martins, which was probably 15 years ago. And although I do have some things up there, I considered that stuff an incomplete part that I hope to get back to and do more, but I don't.
The concept, well, wait, so what happened with the Martins?
Oh, no, I was just using that as a time frame.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were just some extended family.
You're really hoping for some
I know,
dirt.
Yeah, nothing exciting.
I ask questions for a living, Molly.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing exciting.
One of the premises of this concept is that you've got these sort of buckets, right? Your personal life, your home, your money, significant others, faith and community. And that, I mean, when I was reading this, I was thinking that you were imagining them as like circles in a Venn diagram, and that they overlap.
Yes.
And that, but you have to work on all of them, right?
Right.
how did you come up with that? I mean, is that just something that organically you'd always believed?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
And being deliberate about it, by the way.
And I think I'm also, as I think most people are, kind of chasing that elusive balance about all of that.
Right.
And I recognize, I think I have some of the things in there. One of my areas is the appendage, or like that fifth wheel of just, there's always something in life that then takes over for moments of time and disrupts, or maybe at certain times your home life is significantly important and that's like 80% of what you're doing, and all the other stuff you got to just sort of juggle along and not ignore it. But, you know, it's just a constant maneuvering of all of that. But I do try to, I have a, I think there's a link on there somewhere. I wrote, like, just, I called it my personal creed. And it's just something that I read not as often as I would like. I used to read it every day, and I don't always. But it's just set in an affirmative tone, an aspirational tone of the things that I do and think about every day in how I organize my life.
I don't see your creed here. But the website is cool, and I wish you would have kept writing. Why did you stop writing in it?
My own time management issues of just...
Yeah. Did you connect with anyone? Did you get feedback about any of this stuff?
No, not really. I never really, although it went live.
Like the Facebook really exploded and stuff.
And then I was originally writing a book, which I do have a whole manuscript of a book.
Really?
Yes.
I want to talk about it.
But then I kind of feel that the days of publishing books like that have sort of phased out in favor of some of this sort of more the blogging and the more immediate stuff. I think it's just super hard to get anything published now, and I'm not sure I want to self-publish.
Yeah. You know, I recently went through this exercise. I think when we first started this podcast, we were going to each take a project that we'd always wanted to do and then chip away at it and then report back on it with every podcast.
What was mine? My children's book?
No, mine was a book. Yours was
Was it my documentary?
I was gonna say, she probably already did.
You know
hers.
what? I think that's right. I think at that time you said, I've got one, but I can't disclose it. And that's because you were working on your documentary at the time. That's right.
Or, you know, our documentary.
Right. But the point is that I have always wanted to write a book, right?
Which would be about?
Well, there's a couple that I've started.
Do you know Scott Lax is doing at the Fireside Bookstore, he's doing a workshop. Scott Lax is a local writer.
Author.
Okay.
He's author. He's got a couple books.
Check that out.
He's doing
Well, but to piggyback on what you just said about getting published and stuff, right? I went through this exercise recently where I tried to figure out what it was, because it's gnawed at me, you know. And I've started books, and I've spent countless days writing and found it to be a chore sometimes, and really distracting and just difficult, right? And so I stepped back not long ago and said, well, what is it about the idea of writing a book that really appeals to me? And what is it about the act of writing that I consider fun versus that I consider to be a chore? And what I realized was that I had the most fun writing when I wasn't thinking about it becoming a book. Right? So the other day, did you see the blog that I did about Meg and about the client that came up and told her that
but remind me.
Was
it a hug? Did he want a hug?
So I'm walking. Meg and I had this one-on-one meeting.
No flowers.
He comes up, right? He overtakes me while he's walking, and Meg and I are walking towards each other to meet at this restaurant. And he's got an orchid in one hand, a box of chocolates in another hand, and somehow he's also holding a bag of dog treats in there, right? And he overtakes me. He meets Meg right in front of me, gives her this giant hug, gives her this stuff. And Meg introduces us, and he goes, "Oh, so you're Meg's boss?" And I said, "Not really." And he goes, "I got to tell you, she's such a good lawyer, because all I ever really wanted," and she did a guardianship for him.
Okay.
He goes, all I really wanted was for somebody to treat me like a human being.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Anyway, so that was such an awesome moment. But then I wrote a blog about it. I wrote a post and I posted it. And that hour that I spent writing that was so gratifying. It was so fun and meaningful. And it was that way because I wasn't thinking about putting it into a book, you know? And so that was the exercise. I wonder if that's what you were thinking too. Like, so you're right. Publishing is hard, but writing is fun when you're not thinking about publishing.
Well, and I think that sentence that you said, that whatever was bubbling up, like that's exactly how I feel about all of that.
Yeah.
Just how I live, but then to do all the things that need to get done because I don't have Molly's superpowers.
Right. Well, no one does.
To do that, but someday.
Alex has a superpower. I want to know how he drank that entire martini, and he has almost an entire sugar rim still left on the glass.
Because he stayed in the same area.
Cutting back.
Oh my gosh, that's disappointing.
Do you guys want to have another one?
I don't, but you.
I kind of want to see this thing go off again.
I have to replenish the ice.
Oh, here, I'll get the ice. And I got to go to the
wait.
bathroom, too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, gosh, it's just. Did we have I thought we had a great childhood, but he wanted dirt. Nothing there.
No. The only other thing I was coming to mind was when you and Kathleen.
Well, that's exactly what came to my mind. Yes.
In the Culver, is there the water sewer?
Oh,
thing? That's what I'm talking about.
No, the other one was when we went to Capelli's for that concert, and we went right after school, and we didn't tell Mom or Uncle Danny, and
people were looking for you, right?
Yeah, and then they found us at Capelli's. Mom picked us up, but Uncle Danny then came over to the house, and we just got in so much trouble.
And what concert or what was that?
It was risque. We were singing
Like
Brick
that.
in the Wall with the band.
It was a cover band?
Yes.
Okay.
For a wedding, I believe. So Mom walks in and we're on the stage as the backup singers. I think we were like 7th grade maybe for the band.
Boy.
And Risque was the band that like would sleep over at the Capelli's and
Maybe not a great
that was
scene
not
there.
a good time. Kath and I still talk about that all the time.
Yeah, I kind of remember the whole you guys being missing thing for a time, but there.
What are you guys talking about?
We were trying to think up some dirt, but
Yeah?
we got nothing. All the times I got in trouble, Sue
right,
wasn't
I'm-
with me.
Putting this back on.
Do it.
Yeah.
She tried to start, and I was like, wait, he wants
I'm
to
sorry.
see
It's
it.
just...
We have the drinks ready, but
It's such an interesting. I mean, presumably some
like the
people.
shake weight.
It is like the shake weight, but the thing of it is, somebody had to decide that this was the appropriate amount of torque,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the right amount of time to do it.
Oh yeah.
Presumably, there was a lot of testing that happened, and a lot of people were drinking a lot of martinis. Some martini aficionado said too much, not enough.
Speaking of like being cold, do you guys each have a refrigerator with water? I know you do. Do you have a refrigerator that you?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it
but I don't
cold
use it.
Water?
I use a Culligan filter deal. Do you think
Is
it's
there
broken?
Cold water?
No, it's gonna go
It's
on.
just not ready yet.
Oh, sorry. What was your question?
Is yours a cold?
Like, are you talking our home refrigerator?
Yeah. Like could you just get a water without putting ice in it, and the water would be cold?
Yeah. Is yours not?
cold.
I don't think you got. I think it's
Well,
busted.
with all that renovating,
know.
you
Yeah.
better figure that out.
I know. We never talked about her basement.
Oh, right. Let's
I
talk
find
about
that
it.
to be, yeah. So
What's the deal?
Sue, on top of her partying, has downstairs, and I went live. We were at Sue's house the other night, and we were live in the basement. You ought to check it out. So she has shelves upon shelves of.
Let me clarify.
No, let me
it's
finish.
about as long as this wall. this
Yes,
shelf.
about as long as this
Yes.
wall,
Pretty. I mean, I'd
That's
say you
very
got
large.
You got probably like about.
but
50
higher,
feet?
but higher, definitely higher than
No,
this.
30 feet.
So of like, there's a gift shelf.
Okay.
So when she wants to go, if she goes to a party or something, she wants to have a little gift. She goes down. We call it her store, and she'll go down and get there'll be some napkins, or there'll be a candle, or this. Like this would be on her.
The Cosmo mix?
Yeah, she'd buy a couple of those, and those would be sitting there. And then there's like the selfie station section, and then her wrapping section with all her wrapping paper and the tissue paper. And then I'm surprised she didn't take that tissue paper from you and go like this.
Do you want it back?
She's probably shaking over there, and the bag back, and
I just like to be prepared, and the best way to be able to do that is to have things at home.
And her serving section, like with the martini glass, that's probably where these came from.
Well, yeah,
and
interesting.
Holiday serviceware,
Christmas,
crazy things like that.
Are you worried?
Christmas section, that doesn't even count the 50-foot.
It's on the other wall.
There's a whole. So her tree is always a theme every year. Her deck has a theme every year. Different themes every year. What's your deck theme this year, Sue?
I already told you.
But you didn't tell the folks listening. Get up to that mic and tell us.
It's kind of an urban rooftop chic vibe.
What does that look like?
You have pictures, don't you, on your phone?
Urban rooftop
and then, Sue,
chic vibe.
What's your deck next year? What's the scheduled theme next year, Sue?
Next year's theme will be like a Southwestern theme.
Okay.
And Christmas tree. So I think it was like in February, March, she sent me this link and asked me if I would print these blue blue like
Toile.
What is it? Toile.
No, actually it's chinois, I think is the
yes,
one.
like her shirt almost.
God bless you.
And that's the theme for the Christmas tree this year.
That's it's really interesting, Sue.
And then of course the napkins, which we talked about.
All right, what are we looking at here?
That's the deck.
This is the deck. Yeah. It's a really nice deck.
Oh yeah.
It's lovely.
Lovely.
So, and this deck changes from year to year.
Just like the pillows and
like the
accessories.
cushions, all the cushions from.
No, not all
yes,
the cushions, no.
yes, the cushions.
Is that a fire pit?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. I love those things. Sue, I think you're very creative. I don't know if the basement is like, are you worried about a zombie apocalypse that might come and prevent you from going to the store on your way to a party?
She should know better because of what we went through when our mom passed away. My mother was also very much like this. And what we had to do and go through, and
it's just, when...
Did you look really close at the head?
My Medusa.
Is that Medusa?
Her Medusa head that she changes the
Make sure
hair
Nelly gets
color
that.
and stuff. Yes.
Put a
Send that to...
flower in there. It's not that big of a deal.
Just send that to...
I like it. Well, I will say this. I found that I was always very last minute when on my way to a party to buy with a gift, like with a particularly cards, because we Jews, we only give cards with money in it. We don't give gifts, right? So every time I went to a bar mitzvah or a wedding or a birthday party, I'm stopping at the store to get a card. So I went on Amazon and I got this pack of 50 cards that are good for any occasion.
Yes.
Saved me a ton of time.
Yes.
That's the move. That's what you're thinking.
Yes.
Why waste time?
When somebody is having a baby, you have 9 months. It's not a shock.
Right.
Let's get your things ready so that the day that the baby is announced,
and
you're
wrapped
ready to go.
and in a bag with a card and tchotchkes hanging out, and then me, I'm picking up the gift on the way to the party. There's no card.
Okay.
Yep.
It's just a creative outlet. That's all.
That second martini is better than the first martiny. I don't know what you did
Is
to it.
every
I love
drink?
I'm pretty sure it's just because it's the second one.
Damn it.
Or the.
I love
It's not
whatever.
like sex, where the
ratios.
first
My
one's
ratios
better,
are off.
always.
Okay, lightning round. Ready for the lightning round?
Sure.
Molly, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thanks, Alex.
You're welcome.
Susan, what's your last thing you binged?
I always just watch Modern Family if I'm watching reruns. So
Big Modern Family,
That's
girl.
about it.
Big Modern Family. The last text you sent and received and you don't need to tell me who it's from. I just need you to read it.
I could kind of tell you.
Oh,
or do
no,
you want...
just read it.
Oh, okay, it has to be exact. Well, you sent that. You sent the picture of.
Yeah.
Are you stacking the deck?
No, I sent the picture to myself.
Oh,
the
you
picture
should have
of the
sent her
deck.
something that was really inappropriate.
Yes, damn it.
Did either of you spill something last night by the dishwasher or stove? The mat in front of the stove is all wet. Sarah replied, I didn't.
So my third question is, what's on your mind?
Just being here in the moment.
Okay. Ooh, Alex isn't
I
even
like
wearing
it.
his bracelet anymore.
I know. I forgot my in the moment bracelet because I wasn't in the moment when I was getting dressed this morning. Susan, you're shipwrecked on a desert island for at least 3 months, and you can take with you any single musician's entire discography, but only one. But you get their entire discography.
John Mayer.
Oh, interesting. John Mayer.
Did you see his new video? Did you hear about it?
Oh,
No.
that's funny.
Oh my gosh. So instead of spending millions on a video,
Yeah.
he went to a video place that specializes in bar mitzvahs.
No.
Yes. So the whole video is like the
it's-
background screen changes and he's
Like
on-
hopping across a field.
or he's by
and-
the pyramid.
Interesting.
Right.
Oh,
that's
it's
funny.
brilliant. It's,
like
and he's
it.
wearing a very 1980s
Right.
outfit, but I mean
It's called New Light.
Yeah, and like at the beginning it's the John Mayer,
Oh, yeah, like a bar mitzvah thing.
Yes.
That's
oh
hilarious.
my gosh.
I
And
love
he
it.
probably spent $29.99 with a
Right.
coupon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have a lot of albums that would occupy you for 3 months on a desert island or more? You don't. Oh, I forgot to
think
tell you.
so.
You don't know when you're gonna get off the island. It could be years.
I think so.
Yeah?
Enough.
How many albums are we talking about? Like, what is
See,
he?
but there's people like me who and Sue who they just love the music, so
Right.
we can listen to things. Do run. I mean, it's like we never heard it before in our lives. We'll
Right.
listen to it over and over again.
Right.
I'm just
You're
asking.
thinking about multiple and having to. Yeah, we're good.
The whole first month I'm stuck there, I'm probably doing nothing.
Yes.
I'm just enjoying nothingness.
Sure. I saw John Mayer play with the Dead. He's playing with the Grateful
yeah.
Dead now.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and he killed it when
yeah.
I saw him.
I saw him when he opened for Maroon 5.
Okay.
Before Maroon 5 really took off. And he
When he was opening for them?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, it was
interesting.
amazing. Yeah, that
Well,
whole concert
I
was
will
amazing.
tell you, I only ever imagined him as just like this surfer, like acoustic dude. But when I saw him play with the Dead in Columbus like 2 years ago, blew me away. He just ripped shit up. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's
You just
been
said.
compared to
Yeah.
Eric Clapton.
Yeah, he's
and
amazing.
he's kind of an interesting story just all around, but he started out as like a little rich brat kid from Connecticut.
Really?
Not at all
Huh.
like the surfer punk kid now.
Interesting. Susan, same desert island.
Oh boy.
3 months, but it might be longer.
Could be
Okay.
3 years. You don't know.
We don't know.
But it's at least 3 months. Any single author's entire library. Bibliography, I should say.
I am more of a self-help book guru.
All right, that's
so
fair.
I don't think I've really picked out authors that I read, although I do love me some John Grisham, but I haven't read more recent ones. But
What's your favorite self-help author? Who is your favorite self-help author?
I don't really know that I characterize it by authors.
Okay.
I just,
Well, what's your favorite book?
Probably Simple Abundance is the book that probably most changed my perspective
Really?
on anything. And it's
I like
it's
it.
a little bit odd because if you read through it, she was wrote Victorian magazines, so some of it is a little too much for me in that regard. And that's a great story to read about that author because she wrote this book that skyrocketed. I mean, she was on Oprah, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
wrote some subsequent books and lost all of her money and is now, I think, living with her sister in California trying to really
Interesting.
kind of, which is
How
sort
did
of
she lose all her
ironic
money?
given the topic of her book.
Yeah.
I think she sort of says, I think that fame took over a little bit. She married somebody that probably wasn't. She divorced the husband that she was married to when she wrote the book, and then married this other guy who was kind of a swindler of sorts. She bought this castle that she had always wanted to buy. Just ridiculousness.
Yeah, that is ironic, actually.
Yeah.
Do you
she
think
should
that,
read her first book.
Yeah, right. Do you think that that is the book that has had the most impact on your life?
Or, hello, God, it's me, Mark.
I love Judy Blume.
Or
books.
Forever.
I don't
Right.
care.
We were not allowed to have Forever. I remember
yeah, that
keeping
was,
Forever in my drawer underneath, so my mom wouldn't find it. That was.
Is that a Judy Blume book also?
Ooh-wee.
Really?
Mhm. I think someone got fingered in it.
Yes, I believe so.
That was the big.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did I whisper that low enough?
audio
That's
at
silly.
5:45. Yeah, probably. I would
yeah.
say.
Probably Dr. Seuss.
Okay, that's fair. You know, oh, the places you'll go.
Winnie the Pooh. I love
There's some
Winnie
good
the
lines
Pooh.
in
Winnie
there
the
for sure. We
Pooh.
need to see that movie.
That movie's.
Yeah,
We're big movie people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the final lightning round question. Oh wait, no, I wanted to add one. I wanted to add a lightning round question. Yeah, this is the first time this particular lightning round question will be asked. You are it. You're the first person to answer this, okay?
Come on, I'm 2 martinis in.
It's unapproved. It's not approved.
This is
yet.
Molly doesn't even know what's about to
No.
come out of my mouth.
Okay,
Okay, ready?
it's about Molly.
No. I mean,
No.
but
You
no,
really
but
didn't go into much of that. Well, I guess
no,
you-
but I do want to hear Molly's answer to this.
Okay.
What is the routine or habit that you do every day or most days that you find to be most helpful to you?
I think kind of some prayers / daily recap at the end of my day.
Daily recap. I love daily recap.
Just
Interesting. Do you do that
what-
in writing or just how do you do a daily recap?
Think about what my goals are and what things I did well in line with my goals and what didn't
I love
go
it.
in line with my goals and why not, so that I maybe can figure out how to do it better the next day.
And how, so you're not writing any of this stuff down. You're just kind of like meditating on it.
Just when I'm literally in bed getting ready to go to bed,
Okay.
just thinking about it.
Oh, that's how long have you been doing that?
Well, saying prayers, I could recite the
Our
family
child prayer
prayer that we've said
every
since
night.
we were
Is this a special
like it to-
Gebler prayer?
priest prayer. Let's
God
should we
bless.
see?
Priest.
God bless
Mom
Mommy
and
and Dad,
Ronnie and Sue, Molly and Dave, and all my friends and relatives. And please, God, make me a good girl.
And thank you, God, for everything.
Did we not pray for Dad?
Yeah, we would say.
I
Then we
felt it was
would
a-
go through a litany of and
Dad.
God bless Dad,
Dad
and
and-
Grandpa and
yeah.
Aunt Betty and
Oh, yeah.
everybody.
Wow. That is hilarious. I mean, to me it is. It's probably not that funny to you, but
Right.
I
I
think
said
that's.
that every night.
Do you still
and
do-
I
do you
pray
still do
every
that now,
night.
I
Susan?
do. I do.
Do you say it?
I don't
Every
say
night?
it out
Right,
loud, but in
I
my
definitely
head I do.
pray every night.
That, so
Every day
that
I lay my head down, I pray.
is that the if I ask you the same question, is that the answer? Is that
I
the-
would say that's probably the only thing I do of routine.
Really?
Is brush my teeth and pray. I'm a spontaneous. I don't
All right.
have consistency, and maybe that's a bad thing. But I don't have consistency or routine.
Okay.
Maybe eating. I should have a routine, but I
Well.
routinely eat.
Maybe your routine is you have no routines.
That's it.
Mine is journal writing.
Yes.
Yeah, I that's by far because I can't. The things that I write when I do it every single day, I learn and I evolve in a way that I never possibly could because my brain will not remember and capture what I can capture contemporaneously, right? So I constantly read things in my journal from a year ago that I would have never remembered.
Right.
They would be erased off the face of the earth if I had not written them down, and that's
I have
valuable.
them for my kids, but I haven't kept up with them. I mean, I didn't do it every day, and it's been like there will be times it's a year that goes by,
Yeah.
but to go back and read through some of those is
Yeah.
eye-opening for sure.
Yeah. For a while, it was meditating. But I've fallen off. I need to restart that. Do you meditate?
I can't. I've tried.
You can't
I would
sit in
like to.
stillness?
I can't get there.
Have you ever tried to do it for like 1 minute?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have a hard time with it?
A little bit, yeah. I have a hard time quieting my brain.
Yeah. Susan, your final lightning round question is, what is an embarrassing thing about yourself that nobody else knows about?
That nobody else knows?
Or a
I think
situation.
somebody
or-
knows about every embarrassing
Or that
thing I've done.
or that very
There
few.
was some college thing that you just recently told us about, didn't you?
On my 21st birthday, but that wasn't...
Maybe.
Was
all
there
that
was there a
would be.
murder involved?
No. There were 21 shots of kamikaze involved.
All
which
right, let's talk about it. What happened?
Not much to talk about after that.
And did you throw up?
Oh, I'm sure I did. Sure I did. You can't have 21 shots and not, right?
If you don't answer this question, I'm going to have to turn to your sister and ask her. and we're not leaving this room, ladies.
So I get an embarrassing. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Wow, her face
That's a
just
big
lit
one.
up. Yeah.
There was a party that we went to in high school, and it was not many people were in the house. It was everybody in the backyard party. And you were only allowed to go in the house basically if you had to use the restroom, and the restroom was upstairs. So Lisa and I won't say last names to protect others, but
guilty.
we go in to go upstairs to go to the bathroom, and we're up there. I mean, it was just the two of us going to the bathroom, whatever. Well, we didn't realize that somehow the way that when the light flicked on, they could see us in the bathroom. And then when we turned the light off, everyone was like, oh, like this collective from the backyard. And we were like, are they talking about us? And we're like, put the light back on. And they're like, woo! Yeah.
What were you doing in
We
the
just
bathroom?
were going to the bathroom. That's it.
Oh, my goodness.
It's
That's
funny
not the
how
best.
like potty stories always turn up
Yeah.
in response to
Yes.
that question.
Yeah. Susan is still friends with, I would say, all her high school friends.
Yeah.
Really?
They all get together. They all some live on the same street.
I'm leaving
still.
on Friday to
Yes.
go to Turks and Caicos with 7 of my high school girlfriends to celebrate
Really?
our 50th birthdays.
They're supposed to have amazing beaches
I
over
know.
there.
I'm very
Yeah.
excited.
Oh, that's fantastic. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Well, all of you friends of Susan that are listening right now, please email your embarrassing stories about
I'm sure
Susan
there
to
would be
Oh, I'm
some.
sure there are.
what is it? Best.Podcast.Ever1@gmail.com. Just go to the website. This has been fun,
Fun.
Susan. What did we learn today? We learned that Susan is a martini aficionado.
Yes.
We learned
when given the right equipment.
Yeah. We learned that she still says the same prayer that's a little bit silly that she's been saying for 30 years. 49. Whatever. We learned that she appreciates simple abundance and lots of other things. If you've listened this far, then you don't need a recap.
Yeah, true.
Susan, are you working on anything now that you'd like to get out there to the universe? Tell everybody about?
No, the only thing I would say is of the 2 things that I do, estate planning, which we're certainly willing to help people, but it's far more sad when the families come and they haven't planned it all. And then it's just much more difficult and expensive. So
Right.
get your plans in order. That's it.
Get your plans in order.
Get your house in order.
Before
stuff
there's
together.
a crisis.
Molly, anything for the good of the order?
I've got nothing.
Okay,
Nothing
which is
going
good. That's
on at
that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nothing
everyone calm
going
down.
on. Yeah.
Okay,
And the concerts still. We had a great concert at Orange, didn't we?
Pinecrest was amazing.
Pinecrest was a great concert.
Yeah. Double D killed it.
He did with
Yeah.
Spasmatics.
Okay.
They were
Great
so much fun.
pictures on their website.
Yeah,
Did you see the one
I did.
sent?
That was really
That was
cool.
a cute one, but they have about 60 other because the professional photographer was
That
there.
was amazing.
So.
Pinecrest was
Wow.
really cool too. Really
Pinecrest
enjoyed
was
myself.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Well,
You
kids.
got anything going on?
Not really. I mean, just out there doing justice.
Serving the people.
All right, kids. Here's what you got to do. Go to our Facebook page. Click like, follow, subscribe,
Like.
whatever.
Like.
One of those.
I think
Like
I
or
did.
follow?
Like or follow.
I think he's telling the people.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Well, you
gotcha.
do the
Okay.
same thing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
Or,
in.
and then go to thebestpodcastever.com and click subscribe. What else do we want people to do, Molly? Donate. Oh, you know what? I got something to announce. No, you know what? I have something really important to announce.
Oh.
I have news. I have
LeBron
news.
James
Pregnant?
left.
I'm pregnant. Also, in addition to being pregnant, no, this is serious business. So, the Gertzberg Law Firm is donating a portion of every estate plan. Oh man, I shouldn't say this in front of
No,
our
there's
competition.
enough work for
There
everyone.
is, right? And you know what? Maybe
totally-
you should do the same thing. Listen to this. Here's what
Okay.
we're doing. We decided to do this a few weeks ago, and then today we met with Dr. Cameron Camp today, and we're donating a portion of the fee of every estate plan to the Center for Applied Research in Dementia.
And why did you choose dementia, just out of curiosity?
Well, I mean, we've had personal experience with it, and it is something that I know for a fact, right, that at some point years from now, people are going to be looking back at the way we treat dementia now, which is to say often we don't, and laugh or cry, because it is something that has a process that needs to be discovered and evolved. And these guys, it's pretty groundbreaking stuff, the things that they're working on. We will be doing that for a while. So I'm announcing
Wonderful.
that.
That's lovely.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, kids. Thanks for listening this far. We will see you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
For coming.
Later.
Yes.